not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. Like, have you grown weary of hiking any of them in particular other than Cuxacaraga? Are there some that
No.
you're just like, I do have to tag these mountains, but I got to get them for this month, so I'm just going to go do it? How do you feel in that regard?
Rocky Peak Ridge was like that for me, actually. Like, I was
Hmm.
like, I have to drop down into the cold and I have to come back. And
Sure.
but really now it's like I'll hike whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
I believe it. Now, do you make it a point to hit different trails? Like maybe you're doing the regular, you're doing the Ridge Trail to Rocky Peak, and then the next time you're hitting it, you're going to do the New Russia, traverse. Like, do you make it a point to mix it up in that regard, or does it kind of just depend on maybe who you're hiking with, or do you prefer to
yeah.
use do the same routes because it's like it and you can go fast in that regard? Like, how do you decide that?
Um, I guess it depends on who I'm with, the time of day, because we do a lot of night hiking.
Hmm.
So I'd like to be out on like the comfortable trails and the ones that I'm really familiar with then. But yeah, we do mix it up quite a bit, but generally do stick to the same routes when it comes down to it.
Hmm. Because I would imagine, I mean, I would feel like kind of the spirit of the grid, hiking every mountain and seeing it in every season. I mean, excuse me, every month of the year. I would feel like kind of part of the essence of that is seeing each trail each month, because it's like part of it is seeing it in the same every month of the year. So it's like you kind of want to see those trails in January and in February and in April and in May. So I feel like
Right.
that would end up being kind of like a point to this, not
Yeah.
challenge, but challenge, I guess we could call it.
And I guess that I do have like a map that I have all of the trails colored in, so that's also a bit like a goal. I make goals within the goals.
Hmm.
It's like do this and different rounds, like a nighttime round, and when my dog couldn't finish with
Okay,
me, so I
sure.
had to go back and finish with him, and because he had a back surgery, so he had to recover from that. And
And your dog is a 46er as well, right?
yep, he finished on Seymour 2 years after I did.
So cool.
Yep.
So cool. So now when one of your hiking partners is Nancy, is that Nancy LaBaff?
Yes.
Yeah. So if for those of you listening, I never met Nancy personally. I just know her from running the Lake Placid Niner Challenge. Nancy is I'm sure she wouldn't want me to say it, but I'm just going to say it. She is, I think, 60 years old, and she completed the Lake Placid Winter Niner twice, Winter Ultra Niner, excuse me, the Ultra Niner twice in 2 weeks. She is absolutely just insane what she
Yeah.
does out on the trail. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So much respect and props to her. And my God, I hope I can do that at her when I'm older. It's
We
incredible what
say
she
the
can do.
same thing, and she's like, "Oh, you'll be fine." And we're like, "I don't know about that."
Yeah, it's like I'm 33 and I get off of a high peak and I'm like, oh, man, my knee hurts so bad right now. Yeah,
Like 2 days
incredible.
ago, I was like, "Oh, my knee! Like, what is this?" Like, uh,
So let's talk some fun stories now. So what would you say is, the best day that you've experienced out there? You've been on over 400 high peaks at this point, which is, it's wild. So what would can you pinpoint maybe one or two days that were just like everything was firing? This was terrific. You loved the day. Any great stories in that regard?
one of my all-time favorite days was when Riley got to hike Seymour finally
Hmm.
because he had overcome so much. Like, he had a ruptured disc in his spine, so he had to have back surgery and recovered from that. And he still had 20 high peaks to do before he could finish. And so I'm sure how you've heard of Jackson, the
Oh yeah.
Jackson's Journeys. Okay. Like Jackson and Jay were there and a bunch of my friends, and we were just had like a great day, like hanging out on the summit. Like that was definitely one of my favorite days. And then one of my like hardest working favorite days was the Cascade to Sawtooth route that Nancy and I did.
Hmm.
Like that was just everything went perfect. We went at Benny's Brook Slide, like it was great.
Very cool. What are the most peaks that you've strung together in a day? I would assume at this point you've probably done more than like, your usual pairings. Um,
Right.
what's like the biggest count you've had?
My biggest count in New York is, I'd honestly have to say it's only like 7 or 8, like the GRT.
Hmm.
And then we've done Dick's Range plus Dial and Nipple Top.
Okay.
I have a big goal of getting to Lower Wolfjaw from Elk Lake Trailhead.
Okay.
So that would be like, I forget, 13 or 14 high
Yeah,
peaks.
that'd be an enormous day.
Yeah. So that's
Cool.
what we were attempting that day, but just wasn't working out.
Okay.
But in New Hampshire, we did the extended Pemi, and that was 11 high peaks.
Hmm.
So that would be like my biggest all-time day.
Jeez, that's those are some days. Those are some days. Now, let me ask you a question. Did you know James Griffith?
Yes.
So now he told a story on this podcast when he did an episode about doing the ultra where you took him along on his first ultra. It's a Saranac Lake Sixer ultra. And
Yes.
you had to go to work, so you just bounced. You were like, "Yo, dude, I gotta go. Good luck. See you later."
Yep.
And when he told me that, I was dying laughing because I could just picture him, and he was he was telling us on the episode how he was he was hurting, he was tired, and it was his first one, and then you just like took off and then came running past him, and he was like, oh God, he was like, this is what I'm in for. But yeah, I found that story just fascinating, but at the same time, amazing. You went to work, then you decided to do an ultra between going to work the next day. It's like absolutely incredible the things you're doing
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, that was a hilarious decision. It was the last day of winter, so I was like, we got to do it now if we're doing it.
Sure.
Like,
And you, at the same time, you had to go to work. If you're going to get slowed down, you got to get going.
yep, and I've told them that was our stipulation going in. Like, I might have to leave you, and I feel really bad, but
Yeah, but fortunately, all those mountains are they're you're not going to
yeah,
get too lost on them. Thankfully, hopefully, anyways.
right.
So, have you had any days out there? Any experienced any injuries or unexpected overnights or anything along those lines?
I honestly don't have the typical I've spent an overnight in the woods stories,
Hmm.
but I've like really, really badly sprained my ankle on Catamount
Okay.
of all mountains, right above the chimney
Sure.
area. So
Yep.
I had to climb down out of that. I've sprained my ankle on Cascade,
Okay.
but like nothing major.
Just something you kind of wrapped your ankle with and then got out, or you didn't even have to do that?
Um, I didn't even have to do it. I just hobbled out.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. Like,
Well, that's fortunate.
right. Yeah. And like, knock on wood, we've been really fortunate in that area.
So now, would you say that you prefer winter hiking over summer hiking, or are you a summer person all the way? And when I say summer, I basically mean winter or not winter, not necessarily
Right.
summer. But which do you
That's
prefer?
such a hard. I think I prefer winter,
Okay.
but I love summer in the aspect I can do all the different routes and really big hikes and
Hmm.
be out all day long. And but winter just it's so different.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so amazing.
I think for me, and I have this conversation a lot with people, and why I had to stipulate winter and summer is like I don't necessarily mean summer, but people they'll nitpick and be like, well, I actually prefer fall hiking. It's like, okay, I get it. It's like
Right.
I'm meaning winter or not winter. I actually kind of find that if it's like a perfect summer day or a perfect winter day, like conditions are exactly what you would want, I actually find myself I have slowly become more of a winter person as well.
Yep.
When the trail is like it's already broken out, it's smooth, it's a little it's mindless hiking, it's flat or not flat, it's soft, and yeah, I've actually become a kind of obsessed with the winter and the high peaks as well as of the
Yep.
last 2 years.
And like even breaking trail, like I don't love it, but it's like something special about the untouched snow when you're just like tromping through it. Like it's just we enjoy it.
Sure. So now, what would you be doing right now? Let's say, this COVID-19 ordeal never happened. What would you be doing right now? Like, what was your plan for, let's say, March and April?
March I needed 3 more peaks, so I
Ah,
was really
man.
trying to finish that off. Yeah, but
What, 3?
Colden, Seymour, and Lower Wolf John.
God.
Right.
That's like the worst, like three that have nothing, nowhere near one another. That's
Right.
classic.
Yep. And then April, I was really, my main goal was just to get 6 high peaks, get halfway, and anything else was a bonus.
Okay.
So, but it's okay.
Yeah, sure. You say it's okay, but I know on the inside you're like, damn, this sucks so bad.
Right.
So now you don't spend all your time in the high peaks. You're hiking other mountains too, and you're always banging out these ultras as well. What are some other non-high peaks mountains that you're super into here in the Adirondacks? I know you've done so many of them many times.
Hurricane is
Sure.
one of my like all-time go-tos. Polka Moonshine, I've done a lot of times also. Really those two mountains, if I had to choose, would be like the ones I hike all the time other than high peaks. But then Noonmark, of course, and Hopkins. But
Okay. I always say Hurricane. Like if someone asks me like, hey, I'm going to come up for do a hike, what should I do? I always send them to Hurricane. I think it's just got everything you could ever want.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I second that. Big fan of that mountain.
Yep.
So what would you say would be your ideal day in the high peaks? Do you like sunshine? Do you prefer kind of like the overcast days? Or I've met plenty of people who they're all about the rainy days, which I don't understand personally. It's definitely not for me. But what would you say is your desire when you get out there knowing like, all right, well, I got to hit these mountains. So this is the day I'm going. What are your conditions?
Definitely like a low 60-degree day. Like enough to have like a long sleeve shirt on with an overcast for sure. Because you can just move on trail pretty good.
Sure.
And then winter, I have that Raynaud syndrome, so which is like just really poor circulation throughout your hands and feet. So I really enjoy temperatures like in 25, like that's where I'm most comfortable at.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the Great Range Traverse earlier, and that you've obviously hit all these mountains so many times. How many times have you done the Great Range Traverse?
Only twice in its entirety.
Okay, only twice. Yeah. Most people will never do it, period. But yeah, only twice.
Really right.
What would you say is your favorite trail in the Adirondacks so far in the high peaks? Like you're going to hit these mountains via this trail, and you're stoked on it.
I would say, there's so much.
I know there's something that's sticking out in your head right now.
Right. I want to just keep saying Cascade. Like I've done that mountain so many times. Like it's just I have such a love for it. But what range I'm really looking forward back to getting is getting into the Seward.
Okay.
So
yeah. I actually found. I mean, I think the Seward range, as far as like unmaintained trails, I think it's the nicest. I think those trails are the nicest, herd paths of any of the high peaks.
Oh,
as far
yeah.
as like a range goes, the trails are like they're soft, but they're nice. Then they're not completely, they're not 6 feet into the ground like some of these mountains are. Yeah,
right. They're rugged.
Yeah,
still.
I think they kind of have everything that you want over there. I'm a big fan of that range as well. My personal favorite trail, if I had to choose one, like if you got gun to my head, I probably had to choose one. I'm a big fan of the Ridge Trail up Giant due to I just like constantly coming back out, turning around. You're doing the little scramble here and there, and then you go back into the woods and you come back out, more views, and you go back. I just feel like it breaks it up very nicely.
Right.
And have you done the New Russia Traverse?
I have.
Yeah.
That
Pretty
is a great
spectacular,
traverse.
huh?
Yeah, that's super good. We did that one winter, and that was just amazing.
So when you tell people about, the grid, or people ask you what it is, and you've obviously had to have seen some strange reactions from people. What typically tends to be people's reactions when you tell them exactly what it is?
They really just stare at you blankly for a few seconds, trying to like comprehend what you're saying. So I always have to throw in it's over numerous years. And they're like, oh, okay. Because they all think it's your